I want to show you something a neighbor of mine said was impossible. His name is Gary. Lives over in Ephrata, Pennsylvania. Been fighting weeds in his gravel driveway for 11 straight years. Every spring, Gary's out there on his knees pulling, spraying, cursing. Every August, the weeds are back thicker than before. He told me last fall, "Daniel, I've spent close to $800 on weed killer since 2013, and I'm losing." I told Gary what I'm about to tell you. The reason he keeps losing isn't effort. Gary works harder than anyone I know. The reason he keeps losing is that he's playing the game the big chemical companies designed for him to play. A game where you buy the spray, it kills the top of the weed. The root laughs at you underground and you come back next year and buy more spray. The Japanese figured out a different game about 5 centuries ago. And once Gary applied it, his driveway went weed-free by the end of last summer and has stayed that way since. I'm going to show you exactly how it works. No chemicals, no special equipment, and the whole system costs under $60 to set up for life. There is a daily practice in Japan called soji, loosely translated as cleaning, but the real meaning is closer to tending. You see it in Japanese elementary schools, where children sweep their own classrooms every single day after lunch. You see it in the great temple courtyards of Kyoto, where monks rake the gravel paths before sunrise, not because they're messy, but because it keeps them from ever becoming messy. Small acts done consistently that keep a space in good order. Now apply that idea to weeds and the whole picture changes. A Japanese gardener doesn't fight a 10-inch dandelion with a deep root. She never lets it get to 10 inches. She spots it when it's the size of her thumbnail, a couple of days after rain, when the soil is soft, pinches it at the base, and the whole root lifts out clean. The Japanese even have a specific word for this attentive hand-weeding, kusamushiri. When you practice it, the entire job takes about 5 seconds per weed. Done right, a 20-minute walk of your property handles everything. But here's what I know about you right now. You probably already have weeds pushing up through your driveway cracks as you're watching this. And those need to come out before any prevention work begins. So let's split this into 2 parts. First, how to kill what's already there using nothing but what's in your kitchen right now. Second, how to set things up so new weeds simply cannot return. The most overlooked weed-killing tool in any home is a kettle of plain tap water brought to a full rolling boil. Fill your kettle, bring it to 100 degrees, walk it carefully out to the driveway, and pour it slowly and directly onto the weeds growing up through the cracks. The key word is slowly. You want the water to soak down into the crack where the root meets the pavement, not just splash across the top. What happens next is pure biology. Water at 100 degrees Celsius ruptures the cell walls inside the plant and denatures the proteins. The leaves and stems collapse almost on contact. Within a few hours, you'll see the green parts go limp. Within 2 days, the plant looks brown and crispy. Now I want to be honest with you about what boiling water can and cannot do, because the internet isn't. For young annual weeds, the seedlings that pop up fresh in spring and early summer, boiling water is often enough to finish them completely. Their root systems are shallow, and 1 or 2 treatments ends them. But for established perennial weeds, your dandelions, bindweed, creeping thistle, the underground root system usually survives. That deep taproot has stored energy reserves. It will push up new leaves within 2 to 3 weeks. Boiling water is a maintenance tool, not a one-and-done miracle. Expect to treat stubborn perennials every 2 to 3 weeks. What you're doing is forcing the plant to burn through its root reserves faster than it can replenish them. University of Michigan turfgrass research has documented that perennial weeds managed with repeated thermal treatment, what boiling water essentially is, typically exhaust their root reserves within 4 to 8 treatment cycles across a single season. After that, the root gives up. The other thing boiling water has going for it: it leaves behind nothing. No residue, no chemical buildup. It evaporates. Your paving stones stay clean, your concrete doesn't corrode, and the soil beside your path stays healthy. Before I go any further, I have to address something because I see this advice everywhere and it genuinely makes me angry. You will find videos and articles telling you to add table salt or rock salt to your boiling water, or to pour salt directly over weeds. The videos are right that salt kills weeds, but they leave out the part that should make you never do it. Salt doesn't stay where you put it. The next rain washes it sideways through the soil. It accumulates, it builds up, and it turns the soil around your paths and your driveway into dead ground, not just for weeds, but for everything. Trees nearby start showing stress. Beneficial soil microbes die. If you ever want to grow grass or flowers anywhere near that area, you may be waiting 3 to 5 years for the soil to recover. A soil scientist at Penn State put it plainly in a 2019 study. Sodium chloride accumulation in residential soil from repeated weed treatment was detectable up to 6 feet from the application point after just 2 seasons of use. Skip the salt entirely. Boiling water does the same surface job without destroying the ground beneath. For tough established weeds where boiling water alone isn't cutting it, there is one stronger natural option worth knowing: horticultural vinegar. This is not the white vinegar you keep in your kitchen for salad dressing. That's 5% acetic acid. It'll kill a tiny seedling on a sunny day, but it doesn't touch anything with real root depth. Horticultural vinegar is 20 to 30% acetic acid, a concentrated product you'll find at garden centers or online. At that strength, it burns through the waxy surface coating on leaves and destroys plant tissue fast. More effective than boiling water on mature weeds, especially on hot sunny days when the plant is already under heat stress and its leaf pores are wide open. And I want to be very clear, at that concentration it is a serious chemical. It will burn your skin. It will damage your eyes badly if it splashes. You need gloves. You need eye protection. You need to keep children and pets away while you're working. Use a precise pump sprayer, apply it on a still day so it doesn't drift, and treat it with the same respect you'd give any strong tool. One more critical point. Horticultural vinegar is non-selective. It cannot tell a weed from a flower. It will scorch your prize rose just as fast as it scorches the dandelion beside it. Use it in cracks, on gravel, on bare pavement, not as a surgical tool inside a planted bed. Now we get to the part that actually deserves to be called the Japanese method. Everything we've talked about so far, boiling water, vinegar, that's reactive. That's cleanup. Prevention is where the real advantage lives. Walk through any traditional Japanese garden, any well-kept Japanese home with a gravel path or a courtyard, and you will see the same system almost everywhere. Underneath the gravel, laid directly on bare soil, there is a layer of woven landscape fabric. In Japan, it's called bosu sheet, literally weed prevention sheet. It's a tough material that allows water to drain straight through but blocks light from reaching the soil below. No light, no germination, no weeds. You can buy the same material at any garden center under the names landscape fabric or weed barrier. Installation is simple. You clear the area down to bare soil, lay the fabric across the full surface, overlap the edges by at least 3 to 4 inches, pin it down with landscape staples, and spread your gravel, decorative stone, or bark chips on top to a depth of 2 to 3 inches. That gravel layer does double duty. It holds the fabric flat and shields it from UV breakdown. Done correctly, this setup stops weed growth for 10 years or longer with essentially zero maintenance. The occasional seed that blows in and tries to root in the dust on top of the gravel gets pulled out in a second. One finger. Done. For flower beds and borders where your real plants need to spread, skip the fabric. Instead, use a thick layer of bark chip or wood chip mulch 2 to 3 inches deep across the surface of the bed. Mulch blocks light from reaching weed seeds in the soil exactly like the fabric does. As a bonus, it holds moisture in the root zone. Your roses and tomatoes need less watering through the hot months. And it breaks down slowly, feeding the soil as it goes. Top it up once a year in early spring. That's your whole maintenance program. Even with fabric and mulch down, a few weeds will always find a way. Seeds blow in from your neighbors' yards. Birds drop them. The method for handling these is kusamushiri, attentive hand weeding done at the right moment. Wait until the day after a good rain when the soil is soft and loose. Grip the weed at the very base where it meets the soil. Pull slowly and steadily straight upward. The whole root lifts out cleanly without snapping off underground. If you yank fast or pull in dry soil, the top breaks off and the root sends up a new shoot in a week. It's not about strength. It's about timing and patience. Here's the timing rule most people get completely backwards. Treat weeds with boiling water or vinegar on a hot, dry, sunny afternoon. The plant is already heat-stressed. Its leaf pores are wide open, and the damage from thermal or acid treatment goes deeper and faster than it would on a cool morning. Pull weeds in the morning after rain or dew, when the soil is soft. Treat in the heat. Pull in the damp. One more thing, because every yard has at least one weed that refuses to quit. If you've hit a patch of bindweed or creeping thistle 3 times with boiling water and it keeps returning, that is not a failure of the method. That's the plant telling you about the scale of its underground root system. Bindweed roots can run 5 meters deep. You will not win by burning the top. What does work is exhaustion. Remove every green shoot the moment it appears above ground before it has time to photosynthesize and send energy back down to the root. Do this every week through the entire growing season. The root cannot store energy if the leaves never get to make any. By the second summer, the plant is weaker. By the third summer, it's usually gone. This is the deepest expression of the Japanese approach applied to a yard. Not one dramatic battle. A long, quiet consistency that the weed simply cannot outlast. You don't need to be stronger than the plant. You only need to be more patient. Let me give you the numbers. A kettle of boiling water is free. Household vinegar costs $2 to $3 and lasts months. A bag of mulch for an average flower bed runs $10 to $15 and lasts a full year. A roll of quality weed barrier fabric for a driveway or gravel path runs $30 to $50 and lasts a decade. Compare that to Gary Hofstadter's $800 over 11 years. Spray that wore off, repeat applications, damaged soil, replaced plants, and a driveway that still looked rough every August. The Japanese approach is cheaper. It's safer for your soil, your dog, your grandchildren picking tomatoes off the vine. And once the prevention layer is down, the ongoing work is 5 minutes after a rain, once a week. Your driveway doesn't have to be a chemical battleground every summer. It just needs 1 roll of fabric, 1 bag of mulch, 1 kettle, and the small, steady attention that a Japanese gardener would call simply normal. Drop a comment below telling me which weed is giving you the most trouble right now. I read every one of them. Hit subscribe because next week we're covering the Japanese method for keeping a small lawn green and dense through summer heat without a single bag of synthetic fertilizer. You don't want to miss it.